Welcome back, everybody, to another amazing episode of Paranormal. The new normal. I know I haven't been around for a couple months. It's been quiet. It's been quiet. I mean, there's the spirits are still here. What can I say? But it's been quiet. Besides that, it's been no human. There's been no human voices. It's just been quiet. Folks, I am excited to come back to you on this late night with this guest, especially because I've been looking forward to this for a couple months now, and well, let me just introduce her because I'm gonna get it out of the way. I am being joined by Athena Krol, a seven-figure trace channel. What's that? We'll find out. And an expert in soul purpose, and so much more. Author in there as well. I mean, we're gonna get into everything she does, as you guys know. We like to deep dive into people on this show. Welcome, Athena. Cool. Pleasure to have you on.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And the fact that and folks, she's Australian. Y'all know I got a baby and I'm in the Wiggles now, so fucking Australian people are my jam. So let's let's get the show on the road. Well, first things first. Same question I ask everybody when they come to this show. What brought you down this path to the paranormal, spirituality, whatever you want to call it? What brought you down this path?
Um, Honestly, the path found me. It would have been a bit hard for me to go any other way when I was a child and then a teenager. I had such intense paranormal experiences that it completely changed the trajectory of what I thought my life would be. And it would have been too difficult, too hard, too unreal to go down any other path but this. I was thrown into the deep end at a young age and just went all in with it.
Well, I mean, funny enough, that's the answer on a lot of these episodes is
Yeah.
that the path chose them, and I get that. I really do. I mean, people in this life are often just put into it. They don't get to choose. It's not
Mm.
some people. Yeah, some people want to open up a new part of themselves, or they get forced into it because they're going through a really tough time in life. Other reasons,
Mhm.
but a lot of us, a lot, well, not a lot of us, because I can't consider myself a part of this, but a lot of people are born with it.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, as as Lady Gaga said, born this way. What are you gonna do? But it's and it's a good. I mean, so when did you start? When did you first realize that you had these abilities that other people don't have?
Yeah, so they were very normal to me when I was a child, and I didn't have an awareness of, okay, not everybody has these experiences or experiences things the way I do. But it pretty much began to change at 50, at around age 15, up until age 15. It was still pretty subtle, but 15, 16, that's when I was thrown into the deep end. And
Uh,
that's when I started to see beings, make contacts, have visitations at night, hear things, see things, and I didn't know how to cope. I was just a normal 16-year-old, and I honestly remember just being like, "Okay, I'm losing my mind, like, something is very wrong with me," because I was like, Maybe I need to see a psychiatrist. Maybe I need to go to a church. I don't know, like, what's wrong with me?" And fortunately, though, I ended up really delving into esoteric teachings, metaphysics, spirituality, and really beginning to understand, okay, this is what is going on for me and what it actually means. But yeah, it was around those teenage years where it all just kind of came on. And I went for a few months without sleeping much because every time I went to bed, there were so many paranormal experiences that I was like, no, we're not sleeping. And it did calm down. And, I learned how to work with it, how to deal with it, why I was having these experiences, but it was pretty nonstop for quite a few months there. And that is when all of my gifts started to come really, really online. And it's what also led me to then working with my spirit guides and having communications with them and being able to talk to them and connect with them.
oof, so much to unpack. But actually, I don't, I mean, I've had, I'm not gonna, lie, I've had Australian guests before. Obviously, 3 years doing this, it's gonna happen. But I never actually asked this question. Now I'm curious, kind of thinking about it, Because I mean, in America, this is kind of like this type of topic is pretty mainstream almost nowadays. Like it's been for the
Mm.
last 5, 10 years at least, like kind of mainstream. Not like when I was a kid, but it's nowadays mainstream. In Australia, is the paranormal like kind of a mainstream topic, or is it just like when you were starting to go through all this, was like it hard to find people to reach out to for support?
100%. It was very difficult. I feel like now everywhere it is really mainstream. People are talking about it. People are interested. It's a lot more normal to bring it up. But when I was going through it at that age, I remember just finding like blogs and whatever information that I could find in forums because that was really the only way that I could learn and get information. I didn't know anybody in around me in my world who was able to support me or help me what with what I was going through. Thank God for the internet and some good books that helped guide me. And I really noticed how just in the last 10, 15 years it's really drastically changed, and it is so much more mainstream now. So I feel like Australia, I think as a collective, like we've followed that pathway where it's become more and more mainstream.
Funny enough, the most of the guests I've had from Australia have been plant medicine people. They've been ayahuasca specialists and the like.
Yeah.
So I mean, which
We have a
I
lot of that, yeah. It is
I
a big
believe it's
community here.
I believe it's legal there to some degree, which is part of the reason. But
No.
oh,
No. No, it's
okay.
not.
No, I
But
mean
we like, there's a big
it can
interest in it here.
yeah. I mean it's oh well, actually that makes sense because a bunch of them went to South America for their training and to do
Yeah.
their workshops and everything. But I mean it's slowly becoming legal in the states. Slowly, they're working on legalizing mushrooms now, and I could see it happening. Honestly, it already has in some states. But
Mm.
I mean, it's trying to get Eastern medicine to actually be recognized as equal to Western medicine is a hard thing to do, as I'm sure you know. But so when you first started having these experiences, like what type of experiences were they? Were they just seeing spirits, or were they like poltergeisty type experiences where the spirits were actually doing things?
Both. So, I remember having experiences where, like, for example, the first time I ever saw an angel, and I was with my then high school boyfriend, and we were just sitting in a room watching a movie, and I just saw it. And it was very random, nothing special was happening, but then just in the corner of a room, I saw an angel, and I was like, huh, are you seeing this too? Or is this just me? And he was like, no, I don't see anything. And I was like, okay, all right. And I just saw it and then it disappeared. And I was like, okay, am I going mad? Like, what's happening here? And so I had some experiences like that, but I think the ones that were, for some people, they talk about spiritual awakening as being something quite traumatic and intense. And that definitely was the case for me, especially being so young moving through it. For me, it was very difficult in the evening. So at night, I would have visitations. It was just like I completely opened up. Some of them were very galactic visitations. And I definitely had some that were not of the light, that were not very friendly. And it was just like this myriad. It was like I completely pulled down the veil, and it was just like every night there was something different that was happening. And there were some very odd experiences. I remember, when I had not so friendly beings visit, which would happen, and I didn't really know how to stop it, how to discern from it, how to change it. But it was always very different energy and experience to when I had more friendly beings come and visit, which was very supportive and loving. But the not so friendly ones, it was quite scary for me. And I think what scared me the most about it um, was the physical experiences that would come with it. So I would be falling asleep and in this state of being between wake, between sleep, and have the sensation of being physically pushed, but it would actually jolt and push my body. Or I would feel like my arm or my leg being lifted, and that would wake me up, and then my arm and leg would fall. And I remember sleeping in bed with a friend at that age, and literally she felt like when that would happen, because they would still visit even when I had friends over, like me being pushed into her by something, and it really freaked her out. So that was probably what was very hard to deal with, because I just opened and there wasn't any, this is how I discern, this is how I work with certain beings. It was just like open to everything, and it led to some really good and beautiful experiences, but then also some really scary experiences that made me scared to sleep for a period of time.
Damn. Yeah, that's. I mean, it sounds just. I'm. It definitely be freaking me out. I mean, we got this. We had this one shadow figure in our bedroom that
Mm,
for like months. It would just be like chilling there on the ceiling, and but it wouldn't be there all the time, which is why it's not a shadow, something that's there. Because like I'd be like walking through the light, like trying to figure out where the hell it's coming from, and I'm like, I can't figure this out for the life of me. And I
mhm.
mean, it's gone now. I can't explain it. It's gone now. I was told by everybody, like, just tell them it's not welcome, tell them they have to leave. I tried that, it didn't work. And then I was like, about to take next steps and try to find like somebody to actually remove it. And it just all of a sudden disappeared on its own. I was like, I guess we're boring. Okay. Whatever. But uh yeah, so I mean, I keep going back to when you said when you're with your boyfriend at the time and you kept seeing the angel in the corner of the room. All I could think about is goddamn cock blocking angels. But I mean, but you did say galactic, which that kind of got me. I'm sitting there when you say galactic. I'm like, wait a minute, did we have some extraterrestrials stopping by to say hi?
Mhm, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had a lot of extraterrestrial visitation. It started a lot when I was a little child. What I tend to notice happens is that as children, we can have a lot of visitations, but we consciously can't process it. So it's almost like this veil of amnesia, and we forget about it until we get older, and then we start having these memories come forward. So I definitely experienced that, but then also as a teenager I did have visitations, more galactic experiences. I was never taken anywhere. That more astral travel began when I was in my early 20s, and there was a really strong event that happened to me in my I think I was about 21, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a being, like just a random being in my room, in the center of the room. They didn't feel bad, and at that age I had spent a lot of time studying, understanding discernment, energy techniques, how to look after my energy, all of this. After all of my experiences I had as a teenager, I was like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. So I was very good at that. And when it came into the space, it woke me up, and I was like, okay, there's someone in my room. So my immediate thing was to call forward my spiritual team, my angels. And at that age, I had developed really strong communication with them. So I asked them, is this being of the light? Is it safe for me to communicate with this being? And they were like, yes, yes, it's fine. At that point, however, I was really freaked out because I was like, there's a being in my room. I don't like, it's freaking me out too much. So I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm going back to sleep. Thank you. And I just heard the name Ashtar. And I was like, okay, good night. And then I just fell back to sleep. And that's all I remember. And I woke up the next morning, and I just had this name in my head, Ashtar, 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 Ashtar. And I was like, what's that? So Google, right? So I went onto Google, I looked it up, and lo and behold, I saw the guy who was in my room. A guy, he's technically extraterrestrial, but I was like, oh, that's the one I saw, because he's had contact with a lot of people, and there are a lot of images that people have made based off of him, and I had the same visitation and the same experience, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I kind of started to learn more about him, and because I was very at that age, I was very good at channeling and trance channeling. So then in my own accord, once I was kind of clear who he was and why he was visiting me, I began to open up and start channeling him and having conversations with him. And I've worked with him a lot over the years. He's definitely become one of my main guides. but that was one of the experiences that for me was very intense to the point where I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going back to sleep.
Did in your research, did you find out what species of extraterrestrial he was?
I can't remember off the top of my head, honestly. I think it might be Pleiadian, but I can't remember.
Palladian is one of the most common, I would say. So I mean,
Yeah.
100% of it that's believable. Um, I was gonna say, yeah, I was assuming you were gonna say Palladian or Norse. Those are usually the two common ones. Which I mean, if he looks
Yeah.
like Thor, then he's Norse. But you know,
Yeah, the Pleiadian ones, because the Pleiadian beings have such a strong history with Earth and are also karmically
mhm.
connected with us, they're really focused on helping us in our evolution. And they're also, because I teach channeling, and a lot of people that come to work with me, they open up these communications, and there's so many Pleiadians that always want to communicate. They're a very talkative and sharing race per se, and they always have something that they want to share, and which is why so many amazing channeled books are from the Pleiadians as well. But I've worked the most with Syrians as well, because that's where I'm connected to, and there's a lot of incredible teachings that I've learned from them. They're more teaching focused, though Pleiadians do tend to teach as well. But I have over the years channeled lots of different races and species, but the visitations have calmed down, thankfully, because I didn't really enjoy them that much. It's more now I do a lot of etheric bilocation, astral travel, that kind of work if I feel called to go visit somewhere. Like, for example, I've been working a lot recently with the inner earth realm, so more like Agartha and actually traveling there. Yeah.
So many questions.
I know, all the things at once.
Well, first things first. Before I forget this, I have not heard the term Syrian before, and I am really curious about
Really?
what the hell that is.
From Sirius. The
From
planet Sirius. The
Siri,
planet Sirius,
Siri,
yeah.
Sirius. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Very
And
connected to ancient Egypt. They worked a
I,
lot with them.
oh, okay. Ringing bells now, ringing bells, but still, they don't get brought up a lot. They don't, and that's
Really? Yeah.
no one in my podcast ever brought up their name, and that's amazing to me because I know them from other podcasts, and like as soon as you said Egypt, I
Yeah,
was like, oh, that makes sense. But
yeah,
I never heard what do they look like. I have yet to hear a description of them.
yeah. So for me, and there are different, like
I
not
mean,
all the races, not all the beings look the same, but in
of
general,
course,
the way
yeah.
that I see and perceive Syrians, they tend to be quite tall, as for some reason most of the ET beings are quite tall, and they tend to have like a bluish hue to their skin. I don't often see them with hair, but they have big eyes, and I have seen as well, not just that kind of Syrian, but also more feline type Syrians as well. So I have seen those types as well, but less common. More, I tend to see the blue hued skin Syrians.
I see. This is when I start getting all these freaking cross threads in my head between things I know and things I heard, and I'm like, are Syrians just Atlanteans that got off the planet? Like, it sounds like what they are is Atlanteans, but maybe.
Well, the Atlanteans had a lot of extraterrestrial
Oh,
interference. Yeah.
100% yes, and Atlanteans were close with Egyptians. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if we go back to the ancient Greek writings, for God's sake, but
Mhm.
so it makes sense. I guess Syrians and okay, Syrians might be Atlanteans. Okay, wow, wouldn't surprise me, or wouldn't surprise me if they created the Atlanteans. I don't. I mean, Palladians created most of the Earth, so I don't know. I I personally know that I've been well. I don't personally know because I can't contact them. I've tried, but I have a duplicate or doppelganger
Mhm.
that's an Arcturian,
Mhm.
which I that's it, which was a new race to me. And when I first started the show, I've heard about them a few times now in the show, but they're still not talked about as much as they should be. I don't think, but to me at least. But
Mhm.
I mean, Palladians though, you hear about them every 5 seconds. I don't get it. Why are they so starstruck? But um, so you say you astral travel. You said that a couple times now, and I mean, I'm assuming it's like astral projection, but I'm
Mhm.
kind of curious to what you do when you do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so there's etheric travel or etheric bilocation, and then there's astral travel or astral projection. So we have these subtle bodies, right? And one emotional body, physical body, astral body, etheric body, and essentially they are all connected to our consciousness, but they just connect to different energetic realms. So the astral body really connects to the astral realm. So astral projecting is when we physically go to sleep and that astral body can go on a journey and go places. I don't tend to do much astral projection. I find it quite intense and overwhelming at times. And when I want to go somewhere with an intention, it's usually because I want to have a spiritual experience, I want to learn something. And so for me, my preference is etheric bilocation, which is the consciousness that's connected in your etheric body. I go into a very, very deep trance state, the same state that I go into when I trance channel, for example. So, a very, very deep trance state where you almost don't have a sense of time. You don't know how long time has gone on for. And you feel kind of here, but not. It's like that moment right before sleep. Like if you've ever had hypnotherapy and gone into that deep trance state, or that's what it feels like. And then I will actually go and journey somewhere with my etheric body, my consciousness. So it's almost like a step down from astral projection. It's not as intense, but I find it more effective when, for my purposes, which is I usually go travel to beings, to temples, to places to learn things, to gain knowledge and understanding.
The etheric, that's a new word to me too. I never have heard that described before. I mean, astral, yeah, I know astral, but back and forwards, but etheric, that's kind of like not it's not your full is it not your full like soul projecting, or is it just like part of you, or
No, so it's like if you think about we have the physical body, then we have that energetic double, right? So our chakras linked to it, meridians linked to it. We have this etheric template that surrounds us, which is literally like our energy body, but it's not vibrating as high as the soul body. We have the etheric, emotional, mental, and then we go up to that soul spiritual level. And there are levels beyond that, and the astral level as well. But the etheric is literally like your energy.
oh, okay, so basically is it kind of formless, I would think, like in a way.
It would look like you, literally look like you.
Then what's the difference between it and astral? If I mean
Different
I,
dimensional realms. It
okay,
connects to different realms, yeah.
I guess I never heard of the etheric. That's why I'm like kind of confused. I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's just like I can't believe I haven't heard of it. I mean, I've talked to 300 freaking people and not one person's ever mentioned that name. Like that's astounding to me. It's really astounding. Like, but well, let's let's get into what you do, because I mean
Mhm,
the term itself, seven figure trace channel.
mhm,
I talk about. I'm learning things tonight because that's something else I never heard of. So, what
mhm.
is a seven-figure trace channel?
Well, we can put the seven-figure aside because that's more just about, like, my business, but trans channel
Oh,
is what I actually do. So, I go into a trance state and I channel beings. This is then I create courses, information, teachings, podcasts, books from what I learn, the knowledge, and I run quite a few different programs and courses. So, Isis Mystery School for the Isis Priestess lineage. I do a lot of work with dragons. So I've spent hundreds of hours trans channeling dragons and their teachings, and then teaching others also how to channel from information I have channeled on. And, I just put as much information as I can out there because the things I learned just blow my mind. And it's really through that deep, deep trance channeling rather than just because there are two types of, well, there are actually a few different types of channeling, but the main ones which I want to speak to is one, just indirect channeling, which is a conversation like you and me are having. I'm fully conscious, I'm fully awake. There's no going into an altered state. And then there is trance channeling, which is you go into a deep altered state. And the thing is, when we go into that altered state, the ego and the conscious mind isn't as involved anymore. It takes a bit of a back seat, which allows then more information to come through, and we can hold more light. Our capacity increases, so we can start receiving really high level information and teachings without the ego conscious mind constantly getting in the way.
God damn that ego. But yes, I mean, okay, now I'm gonna say it straight out now, folks. I'm about 85% conscious. I literally was cuddling with one of my older kids before I came on the show, so I about 85% conscious because I was asleep, and having a 1-year-old is so fun. You get like 5 hours sleep a night, but I'm about 85% conscious right now, and I'm functioning, but I'm about 85% conscious. So, I don't travel anywhere when I'm sleeping though. I just pass out, black out for the night for the 5 hours sleep I get basically until the baby cries. But it's so fun having a baby. So fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because it
Yeah.
sounds like a lot with your sleep deprivation.
Oh, sleep. I have become so attuned to sleep deprivation that's not even a thing anymore. But the first 6 months, oh my god, I was falling asleep driving. I was falling asleep everywhere. At work, I was falling asleep in my chair. Freaking like it just ugh. But once you get used to it, it's just this is life now for the next couple of years. Get used to it. Yay! Let's get up at 6 a.m. and put on the Wiggles for Miss Rachel. Yay! But well, actually, I prefer the Wiggles. I mean, I got sick of Miss Rachel. I prefer the Wiggles, but they're more entertaining. And now I want to go to Australia because I fucking watch the Wiggles. So it looks like a nice country, but well, as long as you avoid the 9 deadliest creatures on Earth. But whatever. I'll deal with that if I have to. But you said dragons, and my mind don't let me forget when people say that in this show because I they've been brought up in the show before, but I gotta ask because I asked everybody who brings them up. Did did dragons once exist in a physical form, or have they always been truly spiritual?
No, they definitely existed in physical form. They have different dimensional experiences. So there are definitely some that incarnated physically, and then there are some that exist on a fourth dimensional realm. A lot of those are still working with different elements. And then there are some higher dimensional dragons as well who are still working in actually supporting Earth go through the shift she needs to. A lot of the physical dragons were hunted out. Humans really went through a phase of hunting them out. A lot of them retreated back to Agartha. So that's where there are a lot of the physical dragons now, but the majority of them and all the ones I worked with, they're energetic.
Okay, there's that name you brought up before, and I meant to ask about it earlier, but I completely forgot about it because sleep deprivation is real. Um, Agartha, is that a planet or a
That's
star
the inside
system?
of our planet. Yeah. So the
That's
civilization
right.
under Earth.
You said inner Earth. You said inner Earth.
Yeah.
I did hear that, and fucking sleep deprivation. I used to be so much better at this before I fucking had a kid, but because I mean, I am a huge proponent of hollow Earth theory, which
Yeah.
I believe the Earth is hollow. I believe there's a whole land of the lost, during descent of the Earth. None of those movies are wrong. None of those movies are wrong. There is
Mhm.
something inside the Earth that's a whole other world. Antarctica is connected to it somehow. I could go on for hours explaining that, but we're not going to. But so, I mean, the biggest question people are going to ask always is, what else is down there besides dragons? Like that, they're gonna like. I have ideas, but like, there's got to be more down there than just dragons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Agartha is actually the full the full area, right? And it's huge. It spans very wide inside of Earth. And then there are different, it's made up of different cities. There are different parts. And for example, one of the major cities is Telos, right? So there are all these different, which I believe is directly underneath Mount Shasta. So there are lots of different cities within Agartha, but essentially they are beings who human beings, but they do end up looking quite different from us, who are living in the way that we are actually designed to be. So that original Earth blueprint, they're connected to the Lemurians, that we on the surface, we went through history where we were enslaved and our DNA mutated, and we went through all of these big shifts that led to all the issues that we have in our society today. But those in the inner earth, they have the original blueprint of how we were designed to be. So they live, normal human lives, but they live for a very, very long time compared to us. And they have access to higher medicine. They're working with higher realms. They have different beings. They have schools, learning centers, healing temples. It is a full society. Yeah, and it's
And this
huge.
and this right here, folks, is why they won't let us go to Antarctica. Just saying. Just saying. But I mean, I mean, I'm just saying, but it's fucking true. Um, I mean, I believe there is a whole society in the inner Earth. I 100% believe it. I mean, the theory I've heard, which you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the theory I've heard is that during the Great Flood, half of the population went underground, half the population was stupid and stayed on Earth and either died or somehow survived, and or had extraterrestrials help them survive, basically. But our masters, our slave masters, I should say, help us survive,
Yeah.
and basically, the ones who went underground became more intelligent. They continued their evolution and became more superior to us by far. And
Mhm.
am I wrong in any of this or no? Because this is what I've been told by a couple people, and I'm like, I kind of believe this because it makes sense.
Yeah, and look, over the many, many thousands of years, there have been lots of people from the surface actually going into um, the inner earth. Even now today, they do take new people. So that is a thing, and people do go there, do get accepted. Sometimes they, people that get rescued, they bring them in there because the Garthans do want to connect with us. That is their intention. They want to work with us, they want to connect with us, and they're waiting for us to be at a stage, kind of like how the ETs are, where it is safe and good and for them to reconnect with us once again. But obviously, they don't like the way that we live on the surface of the earth and the destruction and everything that we have set up. So there are a lot of different connections with when they have gone into Earth. There's definitely a connection to Lemurians as well, definitely around that flood, and people going under. But it's almost like there's been different waves from over different historical periods.
Okay, if anybody out there knows where you can go to go under, please let me know because I would freaking love it. But
So there
I
are a
mean,
few. There are a few portals, so a very well-known one is Mount Shasta that has one.
mm,
However, there definitely need like the Agarthans as well are very intuitive, and even just meditating and calling upon them and working with them. So it was actually in my etheric travel and when I first started work with the dragons, they actually took me into Agartha. I didn't recognize it was Agartha, but they took me through the Amazon rainforest. So I believe that there is a portal there and an opening there. They took me deep into it, and then I entered, and I didn't realize till after it was Agartha, and I saw Garthan beings. But that's where I was actually having these meetings and connecting with the dragons. And and then when I wanted to open up and communicate more with the Agarthans, because I was really fascinated, I had never worked with them before, but every time I'd go in there, I would see them and I'd be like, okay, I want to learn more about you. So in my meditations, especially before bed, I would send out that intention. And then, like, I would have a lot of experiences while I sleep. Like, I would be falling asleep and hear my name really loudly, Athena, like, let's go, we're ready. And I'm like, oh, okay. But that would wake me up. I would struggle to get back to sleep because I was like, okay, we're going somewhere when I fall
I
asleep. Yeah.
I would imagine, yeah, I would imagine. That's if someone said my name while sleeping, I probably would be like not sleeping for the rest of the night. But unless it's my wife, then that's just typical, and it'd be like, go get the baby. I'd be like, but it's yeah, it is what it is. But the Amazon, yeah, I 100% believe there's a portal there because the Amazon is so undiscovered and so there's so much in the Amazon we don't even know exists. So I mean,
Yeah.
creatures, portals, there's everything in the Amazon. It really is. I
Yeah.
could do a 5 hour special on the things I've heard about the Amazon for God's sake. But well, let's get let's try to get back to you. So you work with soul blueprints a lot. You mentioned it earlier in the show.
Mhm.
What's well, why do people typically come to you to get their soul their soul blueprints? Why can't I
Yeah.
say that? Why do
Yeah.
people usually come get the blueprints from you? Like, what is the typical reason you hear for that?
Yeah. So there's this underlying energy that I think the majority of humans on earth at this moment experience, which is the feeling of, well, I should say light workers, really, the experience of I'm here to do something here in this lifetime. I came here to do something, but I don't know what it is. It's almost like the sensation of I've forgotten, right? Because right now, with the state Earth is in, the way it's progressing and shifting, a lot of us incarnate here because we have something to do, to be of service, to be of assistance to this shift that Earth is going through. And one of the most important things we can do is remember what that is, because it's like we're not just incarnating here for just for fun, just for an Earthside holiday. There's reason and purpose for us actually being here. And when we remember what that is, when we go all in with that soul mission, we actually contribute in the way that our soul intended. And when we've got our spirit team and our angels and guides and all of that, their number one priority is actually getting us aligned with our soul mission. So they're focused on, are you on the path that's going to lead you to what you said you would do here on earth? Are you doing what you came here to do? Because this is actually how we have the highest spiritual experience on earth, but also how we provide a contribution and a service that we have actually been requested to make. So that's the main reason people come to me. And it's something that, because it's so strong, it's like within our soul. When people usually go through the spiritual awakening, there's this, it's almost relentless, that feeling of like, I have to know what I came here to do.
See, I've been told by multiple people that my purpose is this podcast. I whether it's true or not, I got nothing definitive either way. But um, it seems like it could be accurate. Like I'm supposed to spread amazing people like you, like your messages. Like that's what I'm supposed to do, is just spread those messages. And if that's my purpose on this earth, then I'll live with that. That's good enough for me. Better than being told my purpose is to go fight in some war that I don't believe in. So yeah, 100%, 100%. And yeah, the way this earth is going is we won't get into politics, but I live in America, so holy shit. But yeah, we're the epicenter of holy shit. That's literally what we call it, America nowadays. But uh, hence why I want to go to Australia. Just saying, just saying. But so you wrote a book, Soulfire. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah. So the intention behind it was to really lean into this soul mission, to understand who we are, what we came here to do, and the unique soul mission that each of us carries. And what happens, because it's not just, okay, great, this is my soul mission. So for example, if we're talking about your soul mission, it might be, I'm here to spread the voices to make all of these topics far more mainstream and well known. And then you chose the podcast as the avenue. It doesn't mean that there won't be multiple other avenues or pathways or who knows what will come in the future. It's like, this is this is the path that your soul has chosen for you right now. And when people step into that soul mission and begin doing work, a lot of their soul gifts come online, because our soul missions are chosen based on the soul gifts from previous lifetimes that we have actually mastered and used. So we have these soul gifts. For a lot of people, that is some form of psychic ability, for example, but it doesn't always need to be. It can be teaching, speaking, leading. We also have soul codes, we have soul transmissions, all these things that relate to the soul. And I called the book Soul Fire because what happens when we are fully 100% all into our soul mission, we get this energy source from within us, and it's a soul energy source, and it fuels us. It gives us energy even when we're tired and we're exhausted. It's like this energy source comes from, and we experience so much joy from doing what we were here to do that we feel like we can just keep doing it and doing it. The first time I ever taught a spiritual workshop, at the end of the day, it was just energy rushing through my body, and I was like, I'm going to do this till the day I die. There is no scenario where this isn't what I was born to do. It was absolutely unmistakable in me. So that's why I titled it. And it's really returning and bringing us back into that state of soul fire through living our soul mission, and through that contributing to earth and being of service.
Makes sense. And you're not wrong with that soulfire stuff, because if I mean, anybody else going through what I'm going through on a regular basis with the sleep deprivation would probably be like, screw this podcast. I'm canceling so I can sleep, so I can try to get sleep. Me, I'm like sitting there with my wife, like, nope, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. She scheduled a
Mhm.
month and a half ago. I'm like, I'm not screwing this up. Like, hell no. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here to spread this message. I can't miss this.
Mhm.
Like, it's the purpose. I mean, it's been my purpose for 3 years now. Well,
Yeah.
almost 4 years, a couple months. So, I mean, it's been the purpose that long, and I, I love doing it. Whether
Yeah.
I'm meant to or not, I still love doing it. I mean, it's not gonna change my mind whether or not I'm meant to do it, but part of me feels like I am. Part of me feels like they weren't wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
the I never felt more sure about something in my life than this. So, I mean, that makes sense. But so,
That makes a lot of sense. Sounds very soul aligned.
yeah, I I can hope. I can hope. Otherwise, I'm just missing out completely on what they're telling me, and I'm just fucking off everybody. But let's talk about spirit guides, because something I mean, it's been discussed on this show before, but it's always a fascinating topic. And
Mm.
how can someone communicate with their spirit guides if they are unsure of how to get to that point?
Yeah. So with spirit guides, we all have this inbuilt, we receive information in a few different ways. One of them is through the central channel, which is that energy stream that goes through the center of our body, and we receive energy and we translate the energy, which becomes channeling. That's the primary method I use, channeling spirit guides. However, we can also receive information through energy through our psychic center. So this is where people might experience seeing their spirit guides, even hearing them, sensing them, feeling them. So actually through the psychic senses. And less kind of, it's not as ideal, but we can also communicate with our spirit guides through choosing signs of communication. If someone is really struggling with psychic ability, with channeling ability, and it's still developing, even just saying, okay, right, whenever I see a feather, it's you guys telling me that I'm on track and everything is going right. But whenever I see a green car, it means that I'm off track and things need to change. So even just setting up a few things to communicate are really, really vital. But the number one thing that I would be recommending for anybody who wants to open up a dialogue with spirit is kind of where we think about our spirit guides exist on a higher dimensional plane. They are around us, they are communicating with us, but we're here on this dimensional plane. And we struggle to interpret and receive the energy that we are receiving. So one of the best things we can do is focus on shifting our vibration. I mean, it's just one of the many, many, many things I would recommend, but it is a really core component, because the second we start to actually work on raising our vibration, raising our frequency, it shifts us into a state where we are more open and more connected to receive from those higher realms. When I'm preparing to trance channel, yes, I'm going into a very, very deep trance state, but I am also focusing on shifting and raising my energy rapidly to connect into a higher dimensional state that makes that communication open. It's kind of like we have a phone and it's off and we're just yelling at it like, talk to me, spirit. We got to turn it on, connect in, and then we can have a back and forth conversation.
That makes Shout out to the spirit guides out there that are just blowing up every green car they see because they don't want the person to get the wrong idea. So shout out to them. But good. I've had people on the show where they're like, "Oh yeah, every time I see the number 1111, I know I'm doing something right," and I'm like, "So twice a day you're doing something right, the other every other moment of the day you're not? Like that doesn't make any sense." But uh,
I mean, and the numbers can show up in all different ways, but what I actually recommend doing is, and this is something that came through in a channeling where I was teaching on communication, and they said, pick like a random series of numbers. Like it might be, you might go 324. That's my number for yes. 569 is my number for no. And then, you pose a question to the universe, to your spirit guides, and then pay attention to which number you see repeatedly. And it might be on license plate. Yes, it might be you're just drawn to the time all of a sudden and you look and it's that number, but it should be repeated in multiple ways. Like you open a book and it's that page, or, all of these different things. But, I recommend actually picking the numbers and letting your spirit guides know rather than just leaning on 1111.
yeah, I've actually been seeing a lot of 222 lately, and I can't explain it. Like I usually am not a believer in these type of things, but I've been seeing I'll look at my phone every day and it's 222, and I'm like, huh, again? And like I've been seeing it everywhere lately. I can't explain it. It's mystifying to me. I mean I'm not usually a believer in these type of things. I mean I believe I believe I have a fucking extraterrestrial doppelganger, and I believe I have a spirit guide, but I don't. Maybe one the same. I don't know, but I've yet to find a way to contact them. So I just at this point I'm just like I'm living my life. If they want to reach out, they can reach out. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Like at least I don't plan to. So if they want to reach out to me. But well, let me ask you this because I'm kind of curious on this one. What role does the divine feminine and priestess energy play in spiritual leadership and solar creation? Like, why is the feminine energy so much more important than the masculine energy? I ask, even though I don't think masculine energy matters at all in the world, but it is what it is.
Well, I think the divine masculine energy is very, very important on Earth. And the goal has always been to have both of the energies in balance. The issue is about 2,000 years ago, we had quite a violent suppression of the divine feminine. And even just looking at the parts of the Bible that were cut out, all of the esoteric texts about the feminine, the roles of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene were all changed and shifted. And we went from being cultures, oftentimes more pagan, that were focused on honoring and working with the divine feminine, to cultures that repressed what the feminine actually brings and what her gifts are. And this feminine, the divine feminine energy oppression, because it was actually the divinity of the feminine that was taken away, because unfortunately it was a lot of the churches and religions that wanted to control the narrative.
Yep.
So if everything is then circulated around the man and the masculine, it's very easy to then paint the picture. Okay, well, the feminine is less than, the feminine is not important. We must submit to the masculine always, in all ways. And so the divinity that the feminine has was completely suppressed. And that energetically was then reflected in the culture and the way that women were oppressed for a very long time, and unfortunately still are in many parts of the world. But that became a theme we are seeing. And the divine feminine holds so many incredible esoteric teachings, knowledge, awareness. Part of the divine feminine teachings is understanding, teaching women how to raise the vibration of their womb to such a powerful, potent space that they can actually bring in higher dimensional energies and birth higher dimensional beings, like, for example, Jesus, into this world. So that higher consciousness. And it is actually through the feminine and the womb and her mastery of this, but we're so disconnected from that literally, we're supposed to have had many, many types of Jesuses on earth walking, but the feminine has been so disconnected intentionally. So she does not have the power to bring through higher dimensional life into her womb and into her body. And what's happening now is women are remembering and they're relearning and they're channeling the teachings that they remember from when they were in ancient Egypt and these cultures where this was practiced and taught, the Mary Magdalene lineages, and remembering and starting to bring it forward. And there is a really large global awakening around the feminine that's happening. And as this power starts to come forward, there will be a balance created within the masculine and the feminine where there is an equality, because I also believe that the masculine can't rise to their full potential and divinity unless they are met by the feminine. So it's like one rises, the other rises. We rise together.
Very, very well said. And yeah, I mean, look at the Salem trials for fuck's sake. But and everywhere else in the world, but Salem especially. And I mean, look, it's just yeah, I agree. I mean, don't tell my wife that, but yes, the femininity should have power in this world. But I mean, it's just, and yes, we are a huge, 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 huge hater of organized religion on this show. Always have been, always will be. We talk about it frequently. But
Mhm.
I mean, I mean, I actually have spoken to people who channel Mary Magdalene exclusively,
Yeah.
and the messages she brings forth, everybody needs to hear those messages because they are just beautiful and true and not condemning of anybody. She doesn't condemn men for what they've done. It's just men are horrible creatures. I mean, I'll fucking say it. We're horrible creatures, okay? We all have our flaws, but men are horrible creatures to begin with. We are born that way. We can't do anything about it. It's just the way we are. But it's we need to be able to get the feminine back their power. I 100% agree on that, and it's just I don't. I will it ever happen? I can't say. I can't say, but I hope one day, past my lifetime, probably where it will happen. But I mean, we're getting close. We're getting close in most parts of the world, I would say. But I mean, a woman could do anything I could do in America. I know that for a damn well fact. So
Mhm.
they could do more than I could do because they're women and they're more powerful. But they can do anything. They could do more than I could do. So eventually, I think the whole world will get that way. Well,
Yes.
what's it take to get there? Who the freak knows? Wars, conquering, who knows? But so you mentioned something in your site call about stepping into your highest timeline.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
how does one tell when they're in that timeline? Like, how do you know it's your
Mm.
highest timeline, not just a
Yeah.
step there?
Yeah, I love this. So, the highest timeline is a timeline where we are fully 100% in our soul mission, doing what we came here to do, and walking that path in perfect full alignment. It's essentially what was designed for us before we were born. We absolutely do have free will here on earth, and we can say no to the highest timeline if we want. But when we actually follow the soul map and the soul plan, we experience the most amount of joy, the most amount of abundance, the most amount of connection and soulmate relationships. So there's no reason any of us would not want to do that unless there's some kind of sabotage where we don't want to let ourselves experience that. So the highest timeline is essentially the soul timeline. And it has a very unmistakable frequency and feeling to it. And what I see with a lot of people is they tend to hop back in and out. So they connect to it. They're like, oh yes, this is it. I'm feeling so good. I'm doing this work that is, I have my soul gifts are coming online. I feel so fulfilled. I have all this soul fire and energy, and things are flowing, and I've met this person, and now this opportunity's opened up, and everything's just really flowing. Doors are opening everywhere for me. And then they might go, oh, actually, I have this fear about showing up and sharing this. Let me try this instead. And then they hop off. And then spirit guides, their work is really to keep us fully soul aligned. Get back on the path you said you were going to do. Go back, do what you said you were going to do. And so, they shift us back. And that is really their main priority. And sometimes that can feel like, for a person, everything is falling apart, right? Like life is collapsing, life isn't working, life isn't flowing. What's happening? Oh, it's roadblocks to get me back onto the path that I'm meant to be on. A lot of this tends to start to happen more so when people are actually requesting and asking their guides for interference, So if somebody is saying, Spirit, universe, I want to 100% live my soul mission. I want your help. I request divine interference. I want to be on this path, because they do need that conscious free will to intervene. So when somebody starts saying that every day, they start to get quite involved, but it doesn't always mean, great, here are all the blessings and opportunities. Sometimes it means you gotta release and let go of what isn't aligned. And to walk that highest timeline, it does require some form of divine co-creation, because it's quite difficult for us, when a pathway or decision is put in front of us, unless we're very, very attuned to our soul and very clear, it can be difficult to know this is a soul aligned choice or this is a soul aligned choice. So it's very helpful to have that confirmation, that guidance from spirit, which is why I was also saying, even if you ask spirit to give you like a specific sign that is your yes or your no, and you ask, do I walk down this path? Is this the right path for me? And you get that confirmation from spirit that, okay, this is the highest timeline that I'm meant to walk, because it's a timeline where you're going to experience everything that was already meant for you, already written for you, and the most amount of joy and fulfillment as well.
Which makes sense. I mean, whether I'm walking my highest timeline or not, I I mean, I've tried reaching out to my spirit guides so many freaking times, and I don't see any. I mean, it's not like I mean, yes, part of me expects them to be there, like right there next to me in the car, like, dude, what? What do you want? But part of me also knows they're not going to do that. They're going to give you signs. They're not going to come and just whisper in your ear, like, do this. Like, they're not going to do that. So,
I would beg to differ a little bit, because spirit guides, they do, and it really is like learning a language. So when you call in your spirit guides, they show up and they will be trying to communicate with you, and they send you energy, and some people feel that as a presence. But when we translate that energy, it's literally like learning a new language. That's why channeling, it's a skill, right? A lot of people go, okay, I'll do a meditation and connect to my spirit guides. But channeling is like, it's a full on skill. It's like learning a new language. It's like learning how to drive a car. You can't really just learn it from a meditation, which is why people tend to struggle and go, oh, I tried. And it's like, okay, but this is a skill to master, because they're sending you an energy that part of you is recognizing but doesn't know how to interpret. But when you call them, like they show up, they speak, but we just don't know how to tune the right dial to actually translate it in a way that we can understand. And that's the skill.
well put. And yeah, I mean, I guess I don't. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I'm not. I also haven't tried in a while because the deprivation stops you from doing anything and connecting with anything. Because
Yeah.
yeah, maybe when she's 3 or 4, I'll finally be able to start connecting again. I
Yeah.
tried. I tried for years before she was born. Didn't work really, but I I don't give up that easy.
Yeah.
Um, so gonna end this with. I mean, hell, we could do a part 2 one day because I there are so many questions that have been answered, but or explored, I should say. But final question I want to ask is this is a good one because I've asked this to a lot of people and it's always a good answer. Does everybody have abilities, psychic or otherwise, or are there some people that just don't?
Mhm. Great question. Undoubtedly, every single person has the capacity to develop psychic and channeling abilities. And the reason why is it's because it's literally a part of your makeup. It's literally the equivalent of I have a mouth, therefore I can eat. I have a voice, so therefore I can speak. You have a third eye chakra, therefore you can see. You have ear chakras, therefore you can hear. You have a central channel, therefore you can channel. However, how long did it take us as children to learn to speak fluently in the language or to learn another language? Which is why I say, like, it is a skill and something that we learn, but we've got the technology there. It is literally part of our makeup. It's what we're designed to. But some people do have a higher capacity for it. Just like anybody can sing, some people don't sound great, some people sound incredible, right? So everybody has different capacities for it, but the ability, every single person on earth has the ability. And I've never met anyone who could not channel.
Well, shit. There you go, folks. That right there is your call to action. But and yes, I can't sing for shit. I can't sing for shit. I can rap for shit. I can't sing for shit. I've tried. It's horrible. It's just horrible to me, at least. I don't want to do that in front of other people or God anything in this world. But there you go, folks. There's your message for the night. Take it and work with it. Not that me singing part of the part before that, but that's your message. Uh well, I gotta thank you, Athena, because it's been a freaking fun hour. I literally could talk to you for hours if I didn't need to get some kind of resemblance of sleep. But well, man, we'll have to do a part two someday because this was a fun conversation. But where can people find you? Where can they find your book? Where can they find out everything about you that you want to be found?
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you as well for having me on and inviting me. So people can find me on my books on Amazon, Soulfire. You can find me on my website, athenacroll.com, or Instagram, athenacroll as well.
There you go, folks. And of course, those will be in the description as well, just to make it easier for everybody. But, and I haven't done this in a minute, so forgive me if I mess up on it, but y'all lazy. Check the outro. You can find me in all those places. Oh, look, I didn't mess up. Look at that. I forgot I had an outro for a hot second. It's been a minute. But folks, it's been fun being back. I have, I think, one or two more this month scheduled. Still on hiatus schedule. If people reach out, I let them schedule. I'm not going to tell them no. But I ain't actively looking because y'all got so many episodes in backlog that I can release podcasts for next year and not have to record one. I won't do that because that's cool to my listeners, but I could. I so could. I overdid it when my wife was pregnant. I recorded like 3 to 4 times a week and overdid it. But it is what it is. Folks, come back. I'll be back later this month with other interviews, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'll be back. And Athena will be back on the show, hopefully at some point. So come back then, folks. Until then, have a good night, everybody, and Happy New Year. I haven't seen you this year, so I should say that. Happy New Year, and may you all connect with your spirit guides this year at some point. Have a good one, everybody.